Since Joe Biden has spent decades in the Senate, served 8 years as vice president, and is now president of the United States, and the family's getting money from various countries and foreign businesses through various shell companies and this web of LLCs. I mean, guys, you in the press, this is easy pickings. I'm giving you Pulitzer stuff here.
Man.
Like, all you have to do is literally look at our memo and see the level of detail upon which they have created this. And it's very, very frustrating.
Yeah, and he is absolutely right. This Byron Donald's talking about the Biden making money. The Biden's making money using the White House. I'm using whatever elected office Joe has. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what it is. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch with you. That's ultimately, that's what it is. I mean, they're making I don't really feel like being nice about this. I gotta be honest with you. If I'm being real, I don't feel like being nice about this. This is, anybody else would be arrested for like so much less. And this family gets away with it because of their privilege. Now that's using it right. I mean, they actually do have like legitimate privilege. That's using it correctly. I mean, these Bidens, they got privilege. They got privilege all day long. Because anybody else would be in so much trouble for this. But not them. Because they're special. They're special, you see. Man, I wish I had that privilege, don't you? Damn, it feels good to have some privilege. James O'Keefe needs to redo his cover and do it like that. I mean, because really, that's what we're talking about. They got privilege. Privilege. How nice is it to have that privilege? Oh my gosh, you guys. You mess up. You go and buy a gun and you get one thing wrong in a 4473. Oh my gosh, you're an FFL. You have like a punctuation error. They're going to come and stick their ATF-sized boots sideways up your backside. That's what's going to happen. Oh, they will come down on you. And then you can be a Biden and they just skip it. Hell, they help you cover it up. You got the CIA out there soliciting stuff. How bad is it? You know what embarrasses me? This is what is embarrassing. That they weren't even working to cover up anything good. Like, if you're going to be in a government cover-up, ladies and gentlemen, I just think if you're going to be in a government cover-up, then it better be like aliens, monsters, aliens and monsters, big bad UFOs working with the CCP or with the Russians, UFOs somehow involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or have it be like a serious, like, Cold War kind of thing. If you're going to get involved in a cover-up, make it a good one. Because the cover-up always ends up being worse than the crime. That's like the phrase, right? Make it a good one. This isn't even a good, I mean, they're doing all of this stuff for what? For this 50-something-year-old piece of white trash. And that's what he is. Crack addict, baby mamas all over the country. I mean, hell, you know where he ought to go after this gig is up? Wild Wonderful Whites in West Virginia would love to welcome him. Woo! Oh my gosh. This is just insane. They're not even using all of their cover-up power for good stuff. I mean, when you get the CIA, guys, the CIA soliciting, y'all heard about this, CIA, they're soliciting signatures for Hunter Biden's laptop letter. They were the ones out there trying to get people, the 50 former U.S. intelligence officials, one of whom came out and was like, yeah, I know that what we did, we knew that it was, at the time, we knew that it was a true story. We knew it was true. We knew that, the laptop actually did exist. And we knew the laptop exists because the FBI had it don't forget, the FBI had it in their custody. And so they still signed it. There was one from David Cairns who said that the person in charge of reviewing, they said that the CIA official was tasked with reviewing and approving a memoir that and this was, I guess, the book that I guess he was coming out with, that Hunter Biden was coming out with. One of the signer of the statement, CIA analyst David Cairns, disclosed to the House committees that a CIA employee affiliated with the agency's pre-publication classification classification review board, the PCRB, informed him of the existence of the statement and asked if he would sign it. The committees requested additional material from the CIA, he said, which has ignored the request to date. He was saying that and the PCRB, they review so if you're an intelligence person, they have something like this for military. Our friend Jack Carr had to go through all this. They have something like this for military too. If you are in a government agency, then you're writing a book or something to that respect, then you have to have your book. They go through it, they'd give it a separate read, and then they have to approve it for publication. Because normally if you go, like my first book that I did, because there were so many legal things in there, I had to do a legal read, then the publisher does another read and make sure everything, copy editing, etc. So this goes through, something like this goes through 3 reads. And so they said that they have these, the PCRB, they were looking at this book, etc. Karen stated that a CIA official tasked with reviewing. So this was ahead of Hunter Biden's memoir coming out. Cairns had stated that he was planning a memoir that it was on schedule to publish, and he was doing this about the Hunter Biden laptop letter. And he was asked by the CIA, this guy, if he would like to sign it. He said, when the person in charge of reviewing the book called to say that it was approved with no changes, I was told about the draft letter. The person asked me if I'd be willing to sign. He provided the email. I know, the Federalist has it. He provided the email even. And so the CIA official also read specific language from the letter to Cairns to convince him to sign it. So Cairns says that he doesn't remember the name of the CIA official who asked him to sign it. His wife also worked with the CIA. She had retired way back in 1995. She signed the letter. And so they were soliciting signatures from all of this. And Mike Morrell, you remember Mike Morrell. So the House Weaponization Subcommittee, he and Clapper were talking. This came out in their investigation. They said that the former director of national intelligence, Clapper, and everybody remembers James Clapper, that he had repeatedly peddled false allegations. Remember the whole thing with Russia collusion? James Clapper lied under oath. Shut up. This was the guy, he was out there, was it him or Brennan droning people? Clapper was lying under oath. Clapper was the guy who was actually, he was the guy who got in trouble. He got busted for surveilling AP reporters, or not surveilling, wiretapping reporters. But did you hear anything about the so-called precious free press then? No, you didn't. So Clapper and Mike Morrell had been they had been talking back and forth. And when Mike Morrell came in, he was talking about how, really Clapper had been telling him about this letter that was going around. He told Morrell back in 2020, October 18th, he said, Clapper wrote to Morrell, quote, I have one editorial suggestion for the letter. I think it would strengthen the verbiage if you say this has all the classic earmarks of a Soviet-Russian information operation rather than the feel of a Russian operation. That's what Clapper wrote to Morrell on the evening of Sunday, October 18th. And Morrell directed the CIA review board. He said he wanted it was a rush job. It was a total rush job. He said, I needed to get it out as soon as possible. This is what he wrote. This was in his email to the CIA. This was the next day, Monday on the 19th. So Morrell directed the CIA review board to rush job review the letter because they were trying to get it out before the Trump-Biden debates. The CIA actively working to get this information out ahead of presidential debates. And you're telling me that we need to believe that this agency is somehow, they're not weaponized, they're not politicized to the point of being weaponized? Now, one of the other things that the House Weaponization Subcommittee, and there's a great piece from Sean Davis on this, that they obtained these emails, etc., And James Clapper, he was DNI, so he was the Director of National Intelligence. They still have not provided, apparently, the lawmakers on the House Oversight, the Weaponization Subcommittee. They wanted to get records related to the agency's review. Like, what did the agency do when they were reviewing the letter? How did that work? What was that? How long did it take to get them to approve it? Because it says that the approval, apparently after they submitted the letter to that review board, apparently they reviewed it in fewer than 12 hours. And let me pull this up. They had one other agent, this individual who had said, this one other CIA agent who had asked him, is this all good? Referring to the board. Didn't see response from PRB, which is the board. He texted Mike Morrell that Monday night on October 19th. This is 2020. Yes, they cleared. Morrell immediately responded. Great, the other agent texted back. So you had actual current active CIA involvement, active officials in the CIA, not retired people, not people who were contractors, like actual people working within the CIA who were both promoting and who were soliciting signatures for a letter that they were trying to rush and release ahead of the Joe Biden-Donald Trump debate. I thought the CIA was supposed to be an agency. Wasn't it advertised as an agency to protect people in the Foreign Intelligence Service of the federal government? I mean, it's just wild. Not only that, but you had, in addition to that, with James Clapper, he was director of DNI. DNI is who CIA answers to. Good heavens, Clapper. The guy who was just a couple of years ago. When all of this has happened, he had only been out of the National Intelligence Office a couple of years. Hey, look, because and the reason I think that that's kind of important is because, if you're the former head honcho and you just leave, you leave, you have a lot of influence still there, right? Yeah, he was out in 2017. So you have the former head of the DNI, the entity to which answers to DNI, CIA, active CIA agents soliciting signatures. This is in addition to everything James Comer came out with today. In addition to everything that they came out with today. All the money that the Bidens are making. How in the ever-loving hell does this go without any accountability?